of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. There's lights that burn so brightly, in the northeast sky they shine, from the place that Geordies worship, where legends wear number 9. You can travel right round the world, even meet the Pope in Rome, but nothing beats the feeling of when you come back here to home. No matter how life changes, we'll never be far apart. The northeast always home, and it's always in your heart. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV. And yes, this is a match reaction for tonight's game. Crystal Palace 0, Newcastle United 0. So, guys, before I get into the show, go through the usual stuff. If you like what you see, then please hit the like button. It does help the channel up the search results, so please smash the likes. Thank you very much. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so, helps the channel grow. And also, bell notification tells you when I'm live or have a pre-record or any upcoming shows as well. So, thank you very much, guys. So, yes, so tonight we played Crystal Palace down at Selhurst Park. Games ended 0-0. We had the possession. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, unfortunately. I mean, I'll go to the comments because I've got comments in the chat. Sefton's there. He says, have a great show, guys. Up the Premiership we go. Night all. Yeah, I mean, thanks, Sefton. Yeah, it wasn't a great spectacle tonight. We should have beat a Crystal Palace team, to be fair. Yes, they got a draw against Manchester United on Wednesday, but all in all, it's again, we just couldn't put the chances in the back of the net. We were hitting them straight to the goalkeeper. We didn't really test Guaita, and again, it's another draw, isn't it? I mean, I'm not being downhearted or anything about it, because at the end of the day, a point's a point. It's a positive. We haven't lost the game. What's disappointing is I think it's 2 points dropped, especially when you've got the chance to pull away further from Tottenham and from Man United. Because if Arsenal beat Man United, we're still level on points in third place, but we could have had that 2 point gap. So Man United will be happy about that tonight. Also with Tottenham playing Fulham, I mean, if they'd beat Fulham, they close the gap on us as well. So it's sort of, but in other words, we can't be too downhearted. We haven't lost the game. That's the main thing. We haven't lost the game. Disappointing to get another draw. Are we having too many draws? That is the problem. Why are we having too many draws? If we turned some of these draws into wins, we would have been probably in a better off position. Probably would have been well ahead of Man United by now. But it is what it is. But we are still third in the Premier League on goal difference. And we got a cup semi-final to look forward to on Tuesday away to Southampton at St Mary's. So, it's all positives. But guys, get your thoughts in. What did you think of tonight's game? Mighty Mag says, evening, guys. And John, Pope is England's number 1. What a save. Yeah, what a save. I mean, absolutely brilliant. I thought it was a great save by Nick Pope. Tell you what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to stick the link in the chat. So if you want to come on and have your say, you can come on, have 5 minutes and have your say, what you think of the game. So I'm going to post that in the chat now, so just bear with me. Mighty Max says Tony. There you go, guys. the link's in the chat now. So if you want to come on and have your say, then please do so. And I'll bring you on for a few minutes and we can have a chat. I mean, first half, we were all over Crystal Palace. Joe Linton had a shot which he just struck straight at the goalkeeper. We seem to be playing a lot down the left. I mean, are we getting found out on the right now with Trippier and Almiron? Because with Almiron, yes, we know he has to shift the ball to his left foot. And this is the problem that's created now. So our team's realising if they try and stop Almiron going to his left, onto his left foot, then that way they can squeeze us out of the game on that side of the pitch. And is that why we were playing more on the left? But looking back, if we can, looking forward, could we perhaps do a bit of a switch over? So maybe put Almiron on the right, on the left, and do you maybe bring in, bring ASM back into the team and play him on the right? And just give it a swap over, just to refresh it a little bit and just give teams something else to think about. I mean, Mighty Mag says, can't be disappointed looking back to where we've come from. No, absolutely. No, definitely agree with you on that one. We are disappointed. We are disappointed because we haven't won the game. And that's a good thing, to be disappointed, because it shows how far we have come. We should be beating teams, no disrespect, like Crystal Palace. They came out to play for a draw and they got a point. They could have had all three if it wasn't for Nick Pope, but they didn't get all three. And we come away from London with a point. I mean, we definitely need to strengthen. We need to strengthen, that's for sure. You can see that. Goal scoring's becoming an issue. I just don't know. I mean, you know, this guy has been off the boil for a few weeks. I don't know what's happened with Callum Wilson since the World Cup. He just seems to have not been on the pace. I mean, he had illness and things like that. So I'm not sure. Is it time to give Wilson a rest? On Tuesday, would you rest Wilson for that Southampton game? And maybe bring this guy in to start and, you know, give him a start. Again, he's got to build up his match fitness. But then if he starts, how long do you keep him on the pitch for? You know, there are all these conundrums, and the fact that we've let this guy go to Forest on loan. Maybe have we done this too quickly without bringing a replacement in? I think it's going to be a busy week ahead in the transfer window, if I'm honest. But yeah, I mean, guys, if you want to come on, the link's there in the chat. You can come on. That's absolutely fine. Notice the corners are now short ones. Yeah, we had a few of them, didn't we? Joe Linton, we need 4 players to offer something different. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I totally agree with you. We are just... I think we are just more down because we should have won that game. We should have won that game. We had the chances to win that game. And yeah, we do. We need some players in. I think it'll be a busy week this week. Because at the moment, yes, while we're in this top 4, we could have strengthened our position in that top 4. Just think, had we beat Palace and beat Leeds, add them 4 points to what we've got now, we would have been sitting on 43 points. So we would have been sitting pretty, but we didn't. And we just didn't see it over the line. I mean, we couldn't get past Leeds. They parked the bus second half. They were a disgrace that second half, by the way, Leeds. And Crystal Palace were no better tonight either. And they're all laughing because they got a point out of it. But, you know, if that's what they want, then let them have that point. Knight says, put J7 instead of Willock, Isak instead of Wilson, ESM on the left, just to rest Willock and Wilson. Yeah, I totally agree with that one as well, mate. I mean, I thought, yeah, because Willock looked shattered when he come off. He didn't look happy about coming off, and Eddie Howe sort of explained to him why he took him off. But yeah, it's one of them. We just have to wait and see what happens. But Yeah, I totally agree. I'll give him probably a rest on Tuesday, if I'm honest. Mighty Mag says, um, need to drop Wilson for Isak. Yeah, I think give Wilson a rest definitely on definitely give Wilson a rest, that's for sure, on Tuesday. He also says, I think the club will push for Maddison and test Diaby. I mean, Maddison was back on the bench today for Leicester City, so that's a coincidence. And yeah, you could see another coincidence on the Diaby saga is that Arsenal went and bought Trossard instead, so that opened the door for us as well. But it all depends if we can get him with such little time left in the window. But who knows? Who knows? It's amazing what deals can be done. Just put me buds in. But yeah, we'll see. I've got my first guest here, so I'll bring him on in just a moment. Paul says, I think we need more creative midfielders as Longstaff, Willock and Joe Linton, all the same type of player. Yeah, I totally agree with him. I mean, Longstaff looked a bit anonymous in that second half, if I'm honest. We definitely need that creativity. We need that like Maddison type of player. He would have been the difference tonight against Palace. But it is what it is, isn't it? Andrew says, I've seen the front line seem to struggle for the last few games. Yeah, they have, Andrew. Absolutely, mate. It's just not great. With goal scoring's just not there at the moment, is it? And hopefully somebody's due a thrashing. Knight says, we bossed the game, just looked at the possession. I think we can be very proud of where we are with the players we have. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, you know, possession-wise, we had 16 shots at goal. You know, it's just we're not putting them in the back of the net, and that's the only worry. But I think the owners have probably seen that now and they'll look at that and they'll be looking to rectify that this week, I think. And especially if we want to get to the final of the Carabao Cup as well. Wilson didn't look happy at coming off, says Mighty Mac. No, he didn't. He wasn't happy at all, you could tell. Andrew says, Wilson isn't right, I'm afraid. Something isn't clicking other than that we bossed them, but they're awful. Shitty, cheating team play. Typical Vieira. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is with Wilson. There's something not right with him. And is it the illnesses? I mean, as these illnesses that he's had, is this because we've been in Qatar? You know, we knew Fabian Schär had an illness in Qatar, the same as Shaqiri did. You know, but the Swiss manager still played them against Portugal, which was a bit off the pit, which he shouldn't have done. But other than that, yeah, I just don't know, to be honest. Knight says, I like that, though. They're not happy to come off means their desire. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, he wasn't nasty to Eddie Howe. He didn't throw his shirt about like some players do, or, you know, he just came off. He sort of asked a question. Eddie Howe sort of just, you know, put his arm on him and just sort of explained why he came off and give him a pat on the back, as Jason Tyndall did, and the coaching staff. So, yeah, it was probably just more tactical than anything. Lewis says he was bored of that game. Well, it was end-to-end, that's for sure. Paul says we just have to look on the bright side. The past, those are the games we would have lost. Yes, absolutely, totally agree with you. I mean, they are games that we probably would have lost, and thankfully we didn't this time. Don't think Diaby will move till the summer. Again, I don't think it'll happen unless it depends what we offer Leverkusen and what they're willing to take. Oliver says we can't score. Yeah, you're bang on right, mate. We can't. We just can't seem to put the ball in the back of the net at the moment, and I think Wilson does really need a rest. Andrew says, never mind, the boxing's on. yeah, absolutely. Oliver says, we dominated, but no quality in the box starting the show. Yeah, I mean, we thrashed a couple across the box and nobody's on the end of them. Should he maybe have done like Wilson at half time and brought Isak on at half time? Who knows? But we need to start putting these chances away and turn some of these draws into wins. Ian says, Harry, Tony, hope you're well, mate. Yeah, I'm very well, mate. I hope you're well. Paul says it's Eubank fight on Sky or Box. It's on Box Office as far as I know. It's pay-per-view, I think. And Andrew's confirmed that as well. I think I'll pass then, says Paul. After Tony's show, of course. Cheers, Andrew. Thank you, mate. Longest undefeated streak in Europe, I believe, at the moment. Yes, and actually, by an English manager, it's Eddie Howe's. Eddie Howe's got the best unbeaten run of 15 games. And the guy who held that record, but Eddie Howe has now beat him, was Alan Pardew, who was our manager when he went on our 14-game unbeaten run. So Eddie Howe's overtook Alan Pardew, and he's now top of the list for English managers' unbeaten run. Always a watch it. Always a way to watch it, Paul, says Andrew. Yeah. If it was COVID, he could have had long COVID at the moment, but which could affect his breathing. Yeah. And I think it was... But those stadiums in the World Cup, they weren't great. They were air-conditioned. Like I say, when you look at Fabian Schär, Sheridan Shaqiri, they both had breathing problems. And like I say, the Swiss manager was stupid enough to, to still play them. And that's why Portugal went and beat Switzerland well and truly. Because not only them two, but there was other players as well. I think Carl was another one who was having breathing problems. Alan Pardew, yeah, absolutely. Paul says, I think other fans, when they go on about many draws, but they forget the end of the season, potentially cup final and European. Yeah, absolutely. Ian says, agree, Tony. Wilson 100% needs a rest and Isak needs more play, as we can't expect him to be clinical and score every week off the bench. Yeah, I totally agree. Wilson does need the rest. Air conditioning is the biggest spreader of germs, so won't help, says Native. Yeah, it is. There's always bugs in that system, isn't there? And yeah. So I'll just bring Gordon on. Hi, Gordon. And what did you make of tonight's match?
Lewis is boring. It was just boring, dull, boring.
Yeah, and I mean, are you worrying about the chances that we're not scoring with?
Yeah. I just hope we get a striker, because it proves tonight that we need a goal scorer and we need a striker in.
Do you think we'll make any signings this week?
I think obviously because I want to let one go, if we're going to bring somebody in. That's what I'm thinking.
And ideally, where do you want us to strengthen?
Obviously, a winger, but like you say, Diaby, I can't see you come till the summer, so I'll get out of the way now. Madison, I don't think that's going to happen till the summer as well. I think a striker. We need a third striker to come in and score goals.
I mean, the defence is outstanding. We're still, we've gone all this time without conceding a goal, and it's absolutely fantastic.
We're not scoring goals. That's the other problem.
Not scoring, are we?
No.
I mean, we've seemed to have tightened up at the back, but it's the attacking options. We need a creative midfielder, don't we, in there?
Yeah. We need a special number 10, creative midfielder that can come on and change the game, create goals and score goals.
I mean, yeah, you could say it's 2 points dropped, but also it's a point gained because we haven't lost the game. Are you disappointed losing the 2 points, or are you happy with the point?
Bit of both. I'm disappointed that we didn't go, because Palace were there for the taking, because they're poor. They were there for the taking. If more ruthless Newcastle got goals, we could have won 2 or 3-0, but just we didn't have that firepower. And Wilson just doesn't look right, like you say. It's soon going on with Wilson now. I just don't know what it is. I'm a bit puzzled about him.
I mean, Ian says, yeah, I wouldn't say the game was boring. It was more frustrating. Yeah, absolutely. And Andrew says, I'd say Leeds showed other teams how to play us, and since then we've struggled to get through 19-man defences. I totally agree with that one. And the question I asked you, Gordon, and Knight's come up with it. He says, we need another creative midfielder, centre mid, another winger and a striker, ideally a wing back who can play on both wings. Would you say that's a fair shout?
Yeah, that's a fair shout, but I just can't see Newcastle going out big, so big till the summer.
Stranger things have happened, towards the end of a January window. Some teams might think, oh, do you know what? The money's too good to turn down. So sometimes it's better to strike now, sometimes rather than in the summer, because in the summer they may get less for that player. So who knows?
Yeah. Like I say, I just hope we need a striker, because why would they let one go if not going to get anybody coming as backup?
Yeah, they must have somebody lined up, but we don't know who at the moment. Before I let you go, who was your man of the match tonight?
I'll say Paul for that save when he made at the end, because if he didn't save that, we would have lost the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a terrific save, wasn't it? I mean, considering he didn't have nothing to do all game and he had to be switched on for that. Absolutely fantastic with his right hand. We go to Southampton on Tuesday, Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. Do you have a score prediction for that, Gordon?
Yeah, I'm going to go for 2-0 and hopefully put Wilson on the bench so Isaac can sit maximum.
So if you're dropping Wilson, but who would you bring in for ESM? Who would you take out for ESM?
That's the question. Oh God! Now I'm going to put. People are going to comment. Julian, no, not Julian. No, Bullock. I'll drop Longstaff and just play Maxi on the right, on the left.
Yeah, I'm not a bad shout that, I suppose, but yeah, I think I definitely think. I mean, yeah, you could leave Longstaff out, but then he's played well. You could give Willock a rest? I mean, it's a conundrum, isn't it?
That's why I didn't know what to say. I don't know. Who to drop is just a bit of a hard question to answer. And unfortunately, I say you can't drop anyone, but we need somebody to come in and help score goals, because Southampton, we need to go there and get at least a 1-0, maybe 2-0 win, and then get it back to Jason Park and then do the job there.
Yeah, definitely. So you're going 2-0 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who, by the way, who's getting the goal? Who's getting the goals then?
On Tuesday. I would say Anwar, but he doesn't look right either. Like, see, I think teams are now starting to suss him out now, because he's got it. Like, he's got to come on his left. He hasn't got a right foot, so. Oh.
Yeah.
It's hard to say who's got to score, because I'm going to go with Isaac. I think he can score. And I'm going to go for Bruno.
Yeah, not a bad shout. Well, Gordon, thanks for coming on, mate. I've got other people in the chat that come in as well. And but yeah, thanks for coming in, Gordon, as always. And see you later, mate. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
You too, mate. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Right, I'll just go into some comments before I bring somebody else in. CD says, we still have a long way to go when it comes to turning draws into wins, but we aren't conceding goals, which is a positive. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, yeah, we're not conceding goals. That's the great thing. It's just getting them goals. We're creating the chances, but we're just not sticking it in the back of the net. And we need to do that more. 98 Gaming says, the thing is, Palace drew a Man U. They're not a bad team now the way Vieira's got them set up. No, I mean, yes, they got a great draw against Man United, yeah. And but the chances we had, we should have put it to bed. Andrew says, I remember people saying how we will get on if Miggy's goal stops. I guess we're seeing it need better quality. Yeah, I totally agree, Andrew. Nate says, or as Kong as we call him now, Fabrizio must know some deals are going on, as he's convinced we'll be the busiest team in the last week. Yeah, he's a very good journalist, Fabrizio Romano, and I do trust a lot of things he comes out with because he does talk sense. Ian says 3 games against them all season, all 0-0, and Palace have played the same each time. Kill the game and try to counter if they can never get the ball off us. Yeah, absolutely, Ian. I mean, that game at St James's Park when I was there, we should have won that game. Isak should have scored, but the goal that was ruled out should never have been ruled out in the first place. We all know the VAR problems we had back then. So yeah, let's. Jason says, I still think Diaby will come in Jan. Fingers crossed. I hope you're right, mate. I mean, that would be a hell of a signing, wouldn't it, Diaby? Andrew says, totally agree, Ian. They're awful to play. Ian says, rest Willick, put J7 in the middle. Yeah, not a bad shout. Ian says, need Longstaff in. He was mint today and has a great engine. Yes, he does, yeah. Second half, I didn't think he was particularly great, but he was in the first half. Tanji, we need this. We need that. I was thinking all the way through this game in particular. We were too one-dimensional by pumping balls in the box, but we weren't taking long shots at goal at all. Yeah, I noticed that. We were putting a lot of balls into the box, but they weren't getting anywhere because they were just defending for their lives. Knight says, I think Longstaff has been the most consistent player this season, deserves more credit. Yeah, I think he's had a great season and he's getting back to the player he was. All he's got to do now is just find his shooting boots, and once he's got them and he starts scoring, I think, he could go on a little run. Who knows? Paul says FA Cup next weekend, so we only have the cup game next week. Yeah, absolutely. We've only got one game and we've got the rest of the week off, so plenty of time to get everybody's shooting boots back on. Knight says over 9 hours now since someone scored against us. We can be proud of that. Yeah, I totally agree, mate. It's great now, innit? LA Coffee, hi again, Tony Knoll. Hi, LA Coffee. Hope you're well. Alan says, goals will come and hopefully against Southampton. Yep, I hope they do. LA Coffee, 16 shots, 15 corners. Yeah, terrific, innit? But we just couldn't put the ball in the net. Ian says, Wilson's not scored since October. We have to give him a rest as his confidence is shot. Give Isak the start or play a 4-2-3-1 with Isak at 10 and Wilson up front. Yeah, that's not a bad shout either. I think he might have to tweak formations. Knight says it's ironic, most probably the one game that would have suited Woods with the amount of crosses and he's gone. Yeah, that's just typical, that, isn't it? Absolutely. Tanji says we've had so many corners too. It's like the crowd, the keeper, but nobody sits on the edge of the box in case it comes back out. Yeah, I totally agree, mate. And Knight says, hit that like button, please, people. Help the channel out. Thank you very much indeed, Knight. Yeah, guys, so please smash the like button. It really does help the channel up the search results, so give the likes a smash. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so. Helps the channel grow. And also, the bell notification will tell you when I'm live, have any upcoming shows, or any pre-records as well. So thanks very much for that indeed. So I'm going to bring another guest on now. In fact, I'll bring another 2 in. I'll bring them both in together. So I've got Mason and I've got Lewis. Good evening, guys. Mason, give us your take on the game tonight. While I switch my charger on.
To be honest, I think we wasted a lot of chances. I think the shooting boots as well weren't there for some part. Well, I say the shooting boots well for some of them. Going over the bar, going straight to Guaita, and obviously defence was there again. So was Pope. Obviously, keeping winning the game when Teta had that shot what like Pope where Pope had put it over the bar, and yeah, if that was like the Bravka, we would have went out and lost that game 1-0. But Pope's a much better keeper, and he took it over the bar, and I was happy with that. But we didn't look like scoring the day with the chances we created and took. I mean, if we do that against Southampton, you never know what's going to come against it, because they're have signed the Argentinian and the Croatian who was in the World Cup. They've spent like God knows how much on two players so far. We've spent nothing, and we've let Chris Wood go to Forest, which I've heard today that he basically did nothing the whole game. So we need better. We've got 10 days of the window, and we need to look for a young, decent striker like Isak and bring him into the Premier League, better him in the Premier League, and see how it goes from. Because that performance today shows you we need another striker to fit the way Eddie Howe likes to play.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to agree with you on that, Mason. I mean, we need to get more creativity as well. I mean, if we're looking for a defence. Apparently, we're looking for a number 6, and that's our priority apparently in this window. And the name that is now being strongly linked with us, and I say it's a link, it's not a definite, but it's been linked by a few journalists. And this is the guy that's being linked. Edson Alvarez of Ajax. If he was to come in this window, I think that would be a terrific signing. But again, he's not a goal scorer. He's only a defensive midfielder. But you do the number 6 and let Bruno go forward a lot more. But why don't we go all out for this guy? I mean, we can get him for about 8 million quid. Marcus Thuram. It seems to have gone quiet with a lot of clubs that he's been linked to. Let's go and get him. And £8 million. It's a low risk signing, and who knows? He might just help us out by putting the ball in the back of the net. I mean, what do you make of that, Mason?
I think he's got the experience. He's got the experience and the experience on him because I'm not. I think we were linked with him like when Benitez was there. When Benitez wanted him in his last summer, and obviously we didn't have the finances to get him because of the wheeling dealing we had to go through. But I mean, we've got the money. I won't be surprised if we go all out and go and get him in, because he looks a hell of a player, and I'll be happy if we get Alvarez, a decent midfielder for Ajax, and if somehow we don't get Alvarez, I wouldn't mind getting that Corny from Mönchengladbach along with Thuram, because if we get them to win, I'll be happy with the business we've done, because yes, we're bringing 2 players, but that's what we needed in January, because summer you've got plenty of time. January you only got 4 weeks. I'll be happy if we get 2 signings and one of us potentially a loan, which would be good.
Yeah. Coffee says, what shirt are you wearing, Mason?
Oh, just Swansea Top, because I'm my second team.
There you go. That's answered your question. Good evening, Lewis.
Good evening.
Give me your thoughts on the game, please.
I was falling asleep watching it. It was that boring. You go we had loads of shots, and I don't understand. But like we're trying to get. When I was watching it, we were trying to pass it into the box. We're just trying to walk it into the box and shoot. Why not mix it up? Why not have a couple of shots outside the box? Because as previous, we don't do that very well at the minute.
Yeah, we don't do it. But I mean, against Fulham, we had shots from outside the box.
Yeah,
I mean, Bruno had a couple of efforts, didn't he? But I think tonight, just Palace weren't given that opportunity to shoot from outside the box, were they really?
no, they were playing for the draw. They were playing for the point.
Well, you could see what they were doing. They were playing for the point, but they were also trying to hit us on the break and try and make a smash and grab. They could have scored just before half time. You know, when that young defender who came in for Joachim Andersen had that over the bar. If I had been on target, that would have been in the back of the net. But yeah, I mean, other than that, they didn't really threaten. I mean, Mateta had that shot which Pope superbly saved. But other than that,
it was a hell of a save. England #1 in the making.
that's a sign of a great keeper, though.
Yeah.
When you've got a great keeper whose concentration is probably not at its best because all game he's had nothing to do, and at that vital minute he's there straight away to make the save of the game and help you get a point. That's tremendous goalkeeping. And do you know what? Whether he cost us 10 million or 12 million, whichever it was, I tell you what, it's a bargain for an international goalkeeper and an England international goalkeeper at that as well.
And like Southgate was at the game today as well.
Yeah, he was. I saw him. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, Ali Coffey says Wood doesn't score from headers anymore. Yeah. Jason says we need to change something up as all teams are reading now, are playing now. That's the thing. Our team's working us out. Our team's working us out down that right, where Almiron, they know he has to shift that ball to his left foot to have a shot or to get an on goal. Now, this is where I would say swap Almiron, put him on the left. When Benitez was at the club and Almiron first came in, that's where Benitez played him, down the left. If you watch him for the MLS, all his stats state he plays on the left and drifts in.
Yeah.
The same as Paraguay, he does the same, drifts in from the left. Maybe Eddie Howe just needs to change it a little bit and just give him a couple of weeks on the left and just see how he does. And if he starts being devastating down the left, he may frighten a few defenders and a few teams. But teams are working everything out now between him and Trippier, and I think just a little tweak there, that may just help it. But, you know, as Ian says, set pieces have to be worked on as they're getting too predictable as well. I mean, when you go back, Brentford scored the goal with his header. I mean, look at that set piece. Almiron to Trippier, and that cross Trippier put in. Inch perfect for Bruno to get his head on that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not seeing a lot of that now with them, you know, but maybe it's something Eddie Howe might work on in the training ground and get the set pieces sorted out and maybe get the players and get their shooting boots on and get them firing again, because that's what we need to do. But, and I've got Kong, Night of the Game, and Chris. Hi, Chris. Hope you're well, mate. How are you?
Evening all.
Evening.
Not too bad.
Do you want to give us your thoughts on tonight's game?
I think it says a lot about where we are now as a club in the space of a year, is that we're now disappointed by the fact that we're not beating Palace.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that we should maybe look back on and reflect and think, well, my God, look how far we've actually come. This time last year, we would have been expecting to lose that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
I think we also have to remember as well that Eddie's still working with a lot of the old team, and what he's managed to do with those players and what he's managed to pull out of them is phenomenal. But I'm very proud And like I said, we need to remember where we've come from, I think. And I think people are getting a bit ahead of themselves. Expectations rising. Expectations isn't a bad thing. But when it starts affecting the team, like if they start reading social media posts and things like that, that's when we've got to think that maybe, we're not Everton.
Yeah. I mean, we could be worse. I mean, when you think the transformation of 12 months, or we were sitting second bottom in the Premier League, we're now sitting third top. It's phenomenal, the job Eddie Howe's done. It just proved the pre-season he had and the players that's come in. I mean, you've got like Kieran Dyer on there tonight on Sky saying, well, Botman, he says, I'd never heard of Botman before. He says, and he says, no, he says, no disrespect in Newcastle. He says, but Botman could play at a higher level and be outstanding. But he says, but he says, he went to a game. I think he says he went to the Fulham game, I think it was. And he said, as a fan, he says, in Newcastle were absolutely brilliant. So Kieran Dyer's heaping praise on us, even though he's an ex-player of ours. And, we all know the Dyer Boyer fight as well. But
yes.
But yeah, it's nice that he's actually given us a bit of praise. But as you say, Nate, at the end of the day, we have to realise where we've come from. I mean, I did say at the start, before the season started, if we finished in 7th place, I'd be happy with that. Yes, we're in the top 4 at the moment, but if we didn't finish in the top 4 and we finished 7th, I still wouldn't say that was a bad season, because the expectation I had at the start of the season for us to finish 7th, then we would finish there. I wouldn't be disappointed, because then I think, well, still we're in European competition, because when we finished that season last season, we were only about 7 or 8 points away from that 7th spot.
Honestly, start the season, I absolutely agree with you. I thought we'd sneak into the European places, and for me, that would have been a phenomenal season. Also, get to a semi-final. If we can go on and win it now, which it looks like we could actually do, because I mean, this is the difference. Now we're looking at teams, and we're not scared of teams anymore. We're not scared of going somewhere and playing another team. And that is a wonderful feeling. You think about this time last year, I would have been panicking about going to Palace. I would have been panicking about going to Arsenal. I actually thought this year, when we went to Arsenal, we could have turned them over, especially after we made them look so ordinary at the end of last season at St. James's Park. So the fact that we're pulling these results out is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal, they've turned it around this season. And, after we beat them, all their fans went into meltdown, wanting rid of Arteta, wanting him sacked and everything, because they missed out on Champions League. And now the same fans aren't wanting him sacked because they think he's brilliant for what he's doing. It just shows you how fickle some fans can be, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the most fickle sport in the world, I think. And it's so entrenched. It kind of makes me laugh. Obviously, me being Welsh, Wales is a huge rugby country.
Yeah.
So football matches to me are a bit alien. Even to this day, they're still a bit alien to me, because I go to a rugby match and I'm used to sitting with the other supporters and having a laugh, bit of banter, and then you come out and it's very tribal, and it's mad. I love it. I absolutely love it. Though I still don't understand the whole Sunderland Newcastle hate thing. I still don't get that.
It's I think it's with the shipyards, when the shipyards were key. That's when, obviously, because Sun has the river where the shipyards used to be, and obviously we had the shipyard in the River Tyne, and that's when there was a rivalry between them two. That's probably why it still sticks.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Very good, Lou.
See, I know some Welsh words. Noswedar.
I mean, the thing is, we've got there's always been that rivalry with the Mackhams, and it'll always be there. We had, I mean, we all know we had one manager in our history who actually, slated our derby, and we all know who that is, Rod Hullett. The famous words he come out with the day before we played Sunderland, he says, This is not a derby match. He says a derby is derby of the city, two teams in the same city. He says this is a derby of the region. And a lot of fans then went, hang on a minute, what the hell are you talking about? Even Freddie Shepherd at the time thought, hang on, what's going on here? Why is he saying this all of a sudden? What's he coming out with this for? And then we all know the day of the match, well, before the match, actually on the training ground, even Duncan Ferguson come out in an interview and he said him and Alan Shearer were giving bibs on the training ground. And he walked up to Alan Shearer, Duncan, and he said, hang on, Alan, why have we got bibs? What's going on here? Are we not playing tomorrow night? And Shearer went, oh, I don't know. He says, this seems a bit strange because we shouldn't be getting bibs. We're in the first team, aren't we? And they weren't. They were put on the bench.
Yep, remember it.
And then we went on and lost that game, and Hullett resigned the next morning. And Freddie Shepherd said he was about to sack Hullett until Hullett walked in and said, I resign. And Shepherd thought, for once, I've kept my mouth shut and saved myself some money. And I've seen Shepherd's interview on that, and I thought that was absolutely brilliant, the way he came out with it. And I just thought, yeah. But yeah, no, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, Sunderland's 13 mile down the road. It's still a derby at the end of the day. It's a Tyne Wear derby, and it always will be. Even Borough's a derby as such, even though they're a lot further down the road. But it's still a derby, Tyne Tees derby. So,
but they hate the Macnams more than us, to be honest, because I've seen this today. Like when the Borough bus was going up to the hotel in Sunderland, Flares and all that shouting we hate Sunderland and all that. I thought, how is this possible? Because yes, we've obviously got us and Sunderland, but how are they hating Sunderland but not us? I just didn't get it from them lot down there. Yes, obviously the manager's a Geordie, but I mean, I just don't get it.
Mason can agree with me here. Where we live, if you go to the top of Wreckington, you can actually see the cinema light.
Yes, you can.
You can actually see the cinema light. Because you can actually see Sunderland.
Like, because where I live, right, because there's a little road, like 5-10 minutes walk. And there's like a little big massive like hill.
Yeah.
Once you walk up right at the top, because there's like an old Roman fort, you can actually see the stadium of light.
Very quickly, go back to today's match. Right, I don't know what your opinion is, so I'll ask very quickly. Our corners, for such a tall team, we don't seem to be doing an awful lot with the corners. So where do you think we're going wrong there? Because I honestly don't know where it is going wrong.
We're not crossing it in enough.
We should be using Dan Burn a lot. I mean, Botman had a goal, didn't he? His header went wide. But other than that, not many of the big players got in the way of the corners, did they?
No, I mean, that seems to be a theme from most of the recent matches as well, is that we're making the chances, we're putting the crosses into the boxes, but we're just ineffective.
Yeah, it is. I just don't know what we're doing wrong with the corners, but we should be using Dan Burn at the back stick to get it back across. I mean, if you go back to when we played Southampton last season, when Ralph Hasenhüttl didn't want us playing our new signings and said they shouldn't be allowed to play because it's a rearranged game, which the guy's a total Fruit Loop and he's not there no more. But, you know, when Bruno scored, I mean, that was a cross from target from the corner. Burn had it back across goal and Bruno backheeled it in. Why aren't we doing more of that? You know, not saying Bruno to backheel it in every game, but also just to get it back across the box and give somebody an opportunity to try and score. And you're right, what you're saying. Just don't know what's happened there.
Like you said about
even Tanji says it's getting predictable. He says Mickey always looks to come inside so he can shoot. Teams have now worked that out. He's right what he's saying, Tanji. He's absolutely spot on with that. And Ian's asking if you're all right.
Aye.
No, not too bad.
Like as you were saying, you know when we played Southampton when there was a rearranged scheme last season. What was there saying, for example, Southampton signed one of our players from Newcastle. Then we see turn around and saying, you can't we're going to play him, but you want to play him. We go, no, he's not playing for either team. If that was the case, then we could look at it that way.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's stupid. Like, he was a nutcase.
I mean, Alan says Zaha should get a job on the oil rigs as a diver. I mean, to be fair, he went off with a hamstring tonight, didn't he? But that one when he tried to get a penalty, I mean, it was foul. He was fouled outside the box if it was going to be a foul, but he made too much of it, and that's why the referee didn't give it.
That's why it wasn't given. Is that there wasn't a lot in it, in all fairness, and they both had hold of each other at one point. So
yeah.
And like people were saying about we should have penalty, but it was not a penalty in my eyes. But I've seen them given. You know, even hit his hand. You've seen them given as well.
Well, that's the thing. This season as well, there's no consistency with the refereeing at all. It's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ian says if we got Alvarez, that would be mint. I mean, Chris, we've been linked with Alvarez, and it's a couple of reporters now saying it, because we're prioritising a number 6 apparently, and this is according to The Athletic. I mean, if we got Alvarez, that would be a hell of a signing, but he's not going to bring the goals we need. We need a goal scorer, and as I said as well, Marcus Thuram, he's available for about £8 million. I mean, it's a low risk. It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
You think it would be a no-brainer. You absolutely think it would be a no-brainer, but obviously they've got something in mind. And other than Woods, they haven't got it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this Brazilian. I can't remember his name, the young Brazilian
Matheus
boy.
França.
That's the one. Thank you very much. I'm excited by him. I've been reading up on him. Apparently he's meant to be the new Pele.
Him there, yeah.
That really excites me. I'm kind of gutted about Santos going to Chelsea when we were being heavily linked with him. I thought that would have been an amazing signing. And that Diaby one just won't go away, and that would be phenomenal. But I don't see it happening until the summer, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like Chelsea's just buying everybody whoever he's linked with.
I mean, I can see why we didn't. I can see why we didn't go for Trossard, because when you see he's fell out with De Zerbi at Brighton, that then rings alarm bells. Is right, okay, his attitude's not right. Then if he can fall out with a manager like that, then Eddie Howe must have looked and thought, I don't want him at my club. I
honestly think that is the biggest thing that they look for now when they're looking for players. They're looking for people with the right mentality that will fit into the dressing room, because they don't want anything to spoil that atmosphere. And that's why I think someone like Diaby or someone like that, huge signings, but then would they come in with an ego and then that cause problems?
Yeah. But then they must have looked into Diaby and they must see that he's got the right attitude. I mean, Joe Linton says we need 4 players as with Europe next year. 4 now and 4 in the summer. I don't think we're going to get 4 in by the end of January.
I'd love it, but I can't see it.
Yeah, like people saying, why not? Like, if we do get into Europe at the end of the season, why not? Because obviously that would help us attract bigger players in. Because we'll be in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Linton saying second team Mason. There's only one team, and that's Newcastle United.
I know. I can't believe he's wearing fucking scummy Swansea City shirt as well.
Are you from Cardiff, I guess?
Yep.
No,
because I've got family in like the Swansea area, towards basically the new second team.
I mean, I Like Coffee says 15 games unbeaten, 6 points clear of Spurs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've got a big game against Fulham on Monday. Ideally, that would be we ideally probably want to draw in that game, if, in all honesty.
I mean, look at the result today with Liverpool and Chelsea.
Chelsea.
I could have called that 0-0.
Yeah, and we're 10 points ahead of them too.
Yep. It's almost like everything is falling into place, but because of past experiences, I don't want to believe it yet. I'm waiting for the bottom to fall out of it, because I think I'm so used to that happening every year. that the fact it's not happening, it's a wonderful surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe Linton says, we can't keep saying, look at where we've come from. Well, we can, sort of, but yeah.
I get what he's saying, but
Gary
it
then
is
says,
only a year.
yeah, exactly. Gary says, I think corners have to be worked on as nothing comes from them, lads. Yeah, it does,
exactly.
Gary. The corners need to be worked on, and I'm sure Eddie Howe he'll review this tonight anyway, and or he'll be watching it at some point, and then because his stats guys will be watching it back and everything, and then they'll look at where they've gone wrong, and he'll have the team in the training room. He'll put the video on and say, right, look, this isn't good enough. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. I want to see improvement, 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 and that's what Eddie Howe does, and that's what he does best.
So I was just laughing at coffee.
But I was going to say, I got to give credit to that Palace player who came on, who is the youngest Palace player to be in the Premier League.
Yeah.
17 years old.
I mean, Tanji says, I don't think this is a case of how far we've come from, etc., and expectations, because if we were bottom of the league, we would be saying the same thing about poor finishing in tonight's game. Yeah, that's a fair point. Ian Toon Trader says, Kieran Dyer's an embarrassment, saying that Botman could play for a top 4 team rather than us. I mean, that's Kieran Dyer all over.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Aren't we a top 4 team anyway? So.
And Ian says, we beat Spurs as well, I like coffee. They were a shadow of what they were saying when Son was firing. Yeah. Tanji says, Kieran Dyer's a rat. Never liked him. Cocky, injury prone, luxury he was. Crashing Ferraris in Newcastle, etc. Yeah, he wasn't the best, was he? And Andrew says, speaking of rugby, Newcastle Falcons won. Excellent. Nice one. Ian says, we had enough chances to win, not just taking them, but maybe need to freshen up front. Yeah, we do. And Ian says, we hate Sunderland because they are stinking skip rats.
Can't argue with that. Straight to the point.
Joe Linton says, Mason told me he was born in Sunderland.
I was born in Newcastle.
Gated.
Yeah.
Happy born in Gated.
And Ian says, after that Road Huller thing, Shearer came back and scored 5. Yeah, absolutely, for Bobby Robson.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Good evening, Mr. Sinclair. How are we tonight?
Oh, Man U fan. Sunderland, Newcastle. Tanji says, on corners, we aren't attacking the ball. We are too static. Just number players crowding out the keeper. We need 8 runs from outside the box, into the box and tap the ball. Tell you what we need. We need a Gary Speed. Do you remember Gary Speed? He used to be perfect at that when corners used to come. He used to always make a late entry into the box. And 9 times out of 10, he'd be on the back of one of those, and those would be in the back of the net. I mean, obviously, Mason and Lewis are probably a bit young, but you would remember, Chris, with Gary Speed, how he used to always arrive late in the box, but he used to get them on target, didn't he?
I think most probably it was Speedy that got me interested in Newcastle to support them in the first place. So,
yeah.
Very underrated player. Very, very underrated player, but very, very special. Even better as a manager, but I am biased being Welsh.
Rest in peace, Speed.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Foxy says Palace struggled to handle the Miggy Trippier combinations all game. Isak said I came from the right as well, so if Palace did figure out, they didn't do very well stopping it. Yeah, that's true, Foxy. I mean, Foxy, tell us more about Matthias Francha. I mean, he's a South American expert, Foxy, so he will know more about France than we would. Alan says, we had 4 or 5 excellent heading chances under limited pressure, but sadly headed into the keeper's arms. We should practice heading either side the keeper. We didn't work him hard enough. No, we didn't. I totally agree with that, Alan. Tripp's delivery recently hasn't been as pinpoint as his amazing usual self when we play. It's short balls, either floated so hard to get the power into headers or hit it deep, says Ian. Yeah, I mean, it does. It's not been the greatest at the moment, is it?
It's
So
since he's come back from the World Cup, I think. I think that's kind of, and he didn't want to take a rest, did he? He was offered a rest by Eddie, but he
yeah,
didn't want to. He just wanted to go straight back into the team. So maybe that's another person that could actually do with a game out.
Arsenal for life, son. He says Newcastle, also known as Park the Bus FC.
If it
Well, we
works,
don't
it
park
works.
It works exactly. Sometimes sometimes you do have to shut up shop if you want to succeed in getting the point. As Eddie Howe says, we're not here to be popular, we're here to compete. And Foxy says, just the quality of deliveries and movement from players in the box hasn't been good enough recently. And I totally agree with that, Foxy. You're absolutely bang on with that.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it hasn't been. Foxy says the new Pele, stop that. Arsenal for life says, why would Trossard go to Newcastle? Arsenal are bigger.
At the minute, you are.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Doesn't
Absolutely.
matter. Even when it's wrong, they're still entitled to it, okay?
I think the reason we didn't take him, Arsenal for life, is the fact that we didn't take Trossard is we probably looked at his attitude, and that's the whole reason. Because you want harmony in the dressing room, and if he's going to be one of these characters to upset the dressing room, you don't want him in the dressing room. Danchi says, Anderson was supposed to be the Jody Maradona. Come on, man. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen the best of Anderson.
Who was it that said that? Someone actually said that, didn't he? That he had the balance of Maradona. I think that's where that
Joey
comment
Barton.
comes from.
Joey Barton.
Well,
I think.
let's be honest, Joey was a great ballerina.
Well, he definitely said he's definitely a Beardsley type player, but whether he said the Maradona, I'm not sure. He might have, but yeah. Arsenal not for long, says Andrew. Ali Coffee, the commentator, said for the Liverpool-Chelsea game, he said it was a classic mid-table clash.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. He says, no, Arsenal for life. Best of luck winning the Premier League. Not wrong with the Heath Mason, lad. Absolutely. When I had my season ticket, at Newcastle, I used to go, and I couldn't get to the away games. I used to go to watch Gateshead at home with about another 1,000 Newcastle fans as well.
That's what me and Lewis do.
Yeah. Some good football in that National League.
Oh, it is. No, it is.
Yeah, it's not too bad to go for Gateshead. It's like, it's £21 for an adult, isn't it? It depends on the game.
I think so.
But obviously, I get a concession again for £12.
Yeah. Andrew says, born in Bensham where kings are made. We all bow down to you, Andrew. Okay, mate.
I was born in the Toon.
Yeah, same, yeah. Diving headers from Speed were mint, says Ian. Yeah, they were, absolutely. Yeah, okay, Joe Linton, that's a funny one.
Have you not heard what's just I've seen on Broke going to Hull Live that they're expecting I don't know if you've already said that, but I just thought I'd bring it out.
I heard about something,
I honestly think it would be a great move for him. I mean, at the end of the day, he was expected to be the second after Dubravka went off to Man United. Dubravka's come back, and he's overtaken him again. So if I was Darlow, I'd be like, yeah, thank you very much. I've done my time here. I think I need to go find another team. And I wouldn't blame him.
And
at first, Tangi, I thought that was a joke at first, Tangi, till I realised, because I was thinking about John Terry, Wayne Bridge saga, but yeah, John Terry used to do for Chelsea, arrive late in the box off corners.
And you know the goalkeeper who got on loan, Lloris Karius, he's apparently signed another deal with us to the end of the season.
End of the season.
Which is a good move, because if Darlow goes to Hull, then Karius will be on the bench on Tuesday because Dubravka's cup tied. Because he's played for Man United. Arsenal and Man United are scared of us. They have to come to St James's. Yes, they do.
That's the thing. This is. I think this is the biggest thing about this season. Is that nearly every Newcastle team I remember playing and watching, the mentality was always that, right, okay, we're going to go out, you score 2 goals, we're going to score 4 goals against you.
Yeah.
And now it's completely different. It's now, you're not going to score against us, and we're going to nick a goal at some point and beat you. And I don't know which I prefer.
Yeah. I mean, Christopher says, don't underestimate how many clean sheets we've had. How many times in our history can we see yet another clean sheet, even under King Kev and Sir Bobby? We conceded more goals. Yeah, we did. I mean, I saw that interview once with John Beresford, and he was quizzed, and they said to John Beresford, I mean, you know, what was Keegan like? And he said, well, when I came to the club, he says, because I failed me medical at Liverpool, he said, I said to Kevin Keegan, why should I come and join Newcastle United? Because, you know, at the time they were in the old second division, which is now the championship. And Keegan says, well, I'll tell you what, you come and sign for me. He says, we'll get promoted this season. He says, we'll get to the Premier League. He says, in our first season in the Premier League, we'll qualify for Europe, and you'll be in the England team as well. And John Beresford thought, hang on a minute, this guy's away with the fairies. He's talking fantasy football here for a minute. And so he says, I thought, well, I'll have to come on board because, you know, he's infectious. So he says, do you know what? The guy got it spot on. He says, and I thought, hang on a minute. I said, this guy was away with the fairies. And then I realised he's actually right what he said. But he says, his team talk in the dressing room, when he was doing his team talk, he says, I did speak up and I said, he says, him and Darren Peacock said, what about the defensive side of it? And Keegan said, no, we don't talk defensive tactics. He says, what I want to do is I want you to get out there and score one more than the opposition. I don't care how many go in the back of the net as long as we score one more than them. He says, so if they score 3, make sure you get 4. If they score 4, make sure you get 5. And that was Keegan's team talk. And I just thought, you know what, that's absolute class, that is. Gary says, I remember Gary Speed Tony. Yeah, absolutely. Ian says, exactly, Alan. Can't wait to get the Manx come up here. Ali Coffee says, Murphy made some good moves today after coming on. I would give him some credit there. Yeah, he wasn't on long enough, though, was he, really?
I think, though, he did really well chasing and running around after the ball. He put himself about, and I think he's going in the right direction as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew says, Arsenal tears of a clown FC. Ian says, Toshard, more like a bloke snobber.
Read that again. Read the name again, the first name.
Sorry, Toshard. Oh, he's put Toshard. Yeah, more like the bloke snobber, yeah. Toshard, the perfect signing for a bunch of wankers, says Tanji. Gosh, honestly. Ian says, straight out of Bencham. Was great. NWA tune. And Andrew. Foxy says, the problem is too often now, players being labelled the new Pele or Maradona just creates unnecessary pressure. Ortega, Gallardo, Riquelme, Aymar, D'Alessandro had to deal with that as well. Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, Foxy knows his South American stuff, and he knows what he's talking about. I mean, going forward to Tuesday, I mean, we've got a semi-final against Southampton away at St Mary's. Yes, we went down there the last time. We didn't play well, but we still ended up winning 4-1. And Mr. Hasenhüttl lost his job the next morning. He got his P45. I think, yes, they haven't been great. Nathan Jones coming in. People thought this is a bit of a risk. A championship manager from Luton Town coming in. He got that result against Man City. I think Guardiola made an error that night, though, because I think he just put a team out there and thought, we'll beat Southampton, we'll turn them over. And he showed no respect to Southampton, and that's why they lost the game. I'll start with you, Mason. How do you see the game going on Tuesday, and what would be your score prediction?
I think, obviously, the fact they had like 2 goals ruled out today, but not West Ham. Thankfully, they won against them rats
Everton.
from Liverpool.
Yes.
Because I literally can't stand Everton now. I've literally had enough. Anyways, going to Southampton. I mean, the way they played against, like obviously, it's a shame they had 2 goals ruled out for VAR. They would have comfortably won that against a decent Villa side who are going through it well, people would probably say now a transitional period in Unai Emery. They've lost Danny Ings, and they've signed Alex Molino from Real Betis. They'll be looking out for probably base for a striker now, but I mean, we can go into that game on Tuesday with full of confidence. Yes, we did it against. I don't know who we were playing before the Leicester game, but I'm not sure. A few days before the Leicester game. Oh, I forgot who we played.
We played Leeds.
0-0.
Yeah.
And then we went in the Leicester game. 2-0. That's what the coaching staff of Newcastle will be doing. Having one eye set on the Carabao Cup game, because now that's our main priority. Yes, Southampton have spent up to 70 million in the summer, which hasn't worked out. But they've signed Orisic and Alcala's. But there could be strengthening in the next 10 days. Probably by looks at it in the middle, after the first leg at St Mary's, they'll probably will be strengthening the squad because they'll want to stay up. But hopefully, if they bringing 2 more players in and maybe only bringing 2 or 3, the quality we'll bring in won't be at the level where Southampton want to be, where they'll want to fight for relegation, because I really want Southampton still, because they're a good club. Yes, they've been disappointing this season, but just hopefully they'll stay up. But to me, for my score prediction on Tuesday, hopefully it'll be a tight 2-1, because these last 2 games against the skip rats of Liverpool and today against Villa just shows you they're going to be up for the rest of the season. Because yes, they're under new management and Nathan Jones, and they've brought in Orisic and Alcaraz, but they'll probably bring in new players in the last 10 days of this window, and if they play poor in these 2 legs, we know that they'll only be concentrating on the league, because yes, it's good for the fans that they're in the Carabao Cup semi-final, but majority of them fans will probably be thinking about surviving in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. Ian says we need to just score, not lose, and smash them at home. And Tanji says, one thing did irritate me about tonight's match was how many persistent fouls from Crystal Palace went unpunished without bookings. We should have had 2 yellows. Yeah, I totally agree. Should have had 2 yellows. Lewis, what's your thoughts on Tuesday?
Just to get a 1-0 win and just smash them at home. But the benefit is, at least in between the 2 semi-finals of the Carabao Cup is the FA Cup. Southampton do have a game in the FA Cup.
Yeah,
and
they do.
Will they concentrate on the FA Cup, or will they concentrate on the Carabao Cup?
I suppose that depends how the first leg goes on Tuesday.
Yeah. That's the benefit. Will the team travel back up to Newcastle, or will they just travel down and find a training centre where they can just train? because it's
I'd
pointless.
imagine.
Because remember, it's
I'd
only
imagine to go back home.
because it's the probably travel back up home tomorrow. Have
They
one
did it
day.
against. They did it when they played like Southampton and Chelsea. They stayed down there for a few days, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, if they somehow did that, then obviously they've got Bournemouth, where's not far. Bournemouth. That's where they should be. That's where they'll probably be training. But obviously, it'll have to be like because Bournemouth might be. Well, it all depends if Bournemouth are playing in the FA Cup or would have like a few days off, and they could be training the Bournemouth because Eddie Howe will still have the contact with the coach and like some of the coach and stuff at Bournemouth.
Yeah, because they could train somewhere else away from Bournemouth because obviously they'd be getting tactics ready for the cup game. Unless we can train like this, when they finish the training session, when they close, at least we can still use the training centre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say,
absolutely.
I suppose that's going to be a big thing, is if they've got somewhere that they can stay down there that they can actually train at and recover.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could in Southampton. I suppose I could go and use maybe Hampshire Cricket Club's training facilities. Because the Rose Bowl, they've got a big training ground there, complex. So because the Rose Bowl hosts a lot of England games, so maybe they'll probably use that. Who knows? Or they may just fly home tonight and then fly back down on Monday afternoon.
It's 40 minutes on a plane, 40, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
But you never know. It'd be just like if obviously people complain about like travel and that, and they want to cut down on commission, like fuel and that. It'd probably be easier just to stay down south instead of like costing the plane and that.
Don't forget, though, Bruno's got a brand new baby. I know with my kids, I would not want to be spending any time away from them that I didn't have to.
Yeah.
No. I mean, Tangi makes a good point. Second leg against Southampton at home is transfer deadline day. Perfect scenario for unveiling new signings, and the transfer window shuts at 11 p.m. that night as well.
Yeah.
And Alan says first leg away, Newcastle to win 2-0. Second leg home to win 4-0, and then bring on Man United. Tell you what, Man U's got a hard game away to Nottingham Forest on Wednesday. That won't be easy, by the way.
Chris would to put 3 past him. Chris would to put a hat-trick past him.
Yeah, that would be funny. You can't play though, can he? Cup tied, he played against Chania.
Damn it.
And the goalkeeper can't play either.
He's injured anyway, Henderson.
I was going to say he's injured anyways.
Is he? No. You can't play because he's on loan.
Yeah. Yeah, can you imagine if Man U sold him to Forest and then he happens to just save the penalty that dumps Man U out? He'd celebrate it all Trafford, wouldn't he?
For penalties, that's the goalkeeper I'd want to be making the saves, other than the Villa keeper, the Argentine.
Chris, will you be going to if we get to Wembley, will you be trying to get tickets?
Honestly, no. And the reason for it is I'd rather sit at home with a fridge full of beer with my kids watching the match all together rather than forking out £2,000 that I could most probably better spend on gas and electricity.
Yes, I got my hotel booked ready for Wembley just in case.
I mean, I may consider going to London to experience the atmosphere, because I bet you London will be bouncing that day.
Yeah, especially with all the Geordies.
It's a shame they wasn't still being played at the Millennium Stadium. That's all I'm going to say.
That's what I'm saying. Like the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Why can't they have one? Let's say, for example, Cardiff and Swansea get to the semi-finals. Play at the Principality Stadium or the Millennium Stadium.
Yeah, it's always the Millennium Stadium. Sorry, I know it's the Principality, but to me, it's always the Millennium.
I know it's the Millennium Stadium, but since the bloody Champions League final when they changed the name for some stupid bloody reason.
A lot of fans have said that they wanted the football to go back to Cardiff, or they wanted matches to be held at Cardiff again because they just liked how central the stadium is. It's literally, you get off the train, the stadium's there, next street over, you've got an entire street of pubs. It's absolutely perfect. There's hardly anywhere to fall over, crawl.
I would love, like, if this, my dad, obviously, my dad's side of the family has Welsh blood in them, like Welsh bloods on that side. My dad would love to go and see England play Wales, or Wales play England, or Cumbria versus England, as they want to be known as now.
Yes.
Like, I would love to go and see, because for me, even though I'm English, I love the Welsh national anthem.
It's very special, especially if you're in the stadium, and I get goosebumps every time. But again, I'm biased.
Yeah, I mean, the FA Cup semi-finals, I think it's wrong to play them at Wembley, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I think it should be back at the traditional grounds. Like, I mean, when we played at Old Trafford, twice. Okay, the time we played Chelsea in the semi-final, we played that at Wembley. But other than that, I think they should be played at neutral grounds for the semi-final, because that way it means then you've got the chance of getting to Wembley, and it gives you that spurring on where if you're at Wembley, you're going to think, oh, well, I've played at Wembley. If we lose, we'll go home. And I know why they're using Wembley. It's because obviously they've got to pay for the stadium.
They've got to make the money back somehow.
Yeah. I mean, guys, I've got 31 watching at the moment. Please smash the likes. We've got 17 likes. Let's all smash those likes. That would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for that, guys. And also, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so and helps the channel grow. So Chris, I mean, what's your thoughts for Tuesday's match and score prediction?
Honestly, I would rest Willock. I said this in chat earlier, and I would put Joe Linton into the midfield, central midfield. I'd bring ASM in on the left, and then I would rest Wilson and have Isaac up front. And score-wise, I would go 2-0 Isaac and Botman.
Ooh.
I get the feeling they'll be working on headers an awful lot this week.
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? That would be interesting. Because I'd like to see Botman get his goal. I think he's due a goal, isn't he? Really, but
let's be honest. Future captain once Trippier's gone.
Who Botman will be? Yeah.
Botman, yeah. He's built for it.
Yes, he is, isn't he?
I tell you who I want to get a goal for Newcastle. Nick Pope.
Who's that?
Nick Pope, why not?
Oh yeah, I got one other one as well. Lascelles to get a yellow card.
And he doesn't play.
Oh yeah, to get his customary yellow card. I mean, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? That would be brilliant.
Like our assistant manager got booked today.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh yes, he did.
I didn't know.
Yes, he did. Yes.
I mean, we all agree. We're all absolutely in agreement. Lascelles is not the player that he was at one point, and he's never going to be again. Okay, so it is time for him to move on. But his passion for the club still, it amazes me. I mean, a lot of people are going to say that he's cutthroat because he's just happy to sit on the bench and collect his paycheck. But I don't think it's that. I think he's actually infused by the project that's going on at the moment. And he wants to be a part of that. I think Trippier also move into coaching once he finishes playing for Newcastle. I think he'd be a phenomenal coach.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruno's put a tweet out and he said, "A little frustrated with today's result, but I'd like to thank all the medical staff for making me available for the game in record time. Without you, it would not be possible. We return with full focus for our semi-final on Tuesday. A black and white heart at number 39." And that's from Bruno.
I love Bruno. Bruno just, he loves the crowd now. I think that's the same.
Ian says, "I've got a 6-person table booked in the VIP corporate for the final, lads, but there's no way I'm missing out if we get to Wembley. Nice one, Ian. And Gary says, I've already smashed the like button, Tony. Yeah,
I
no,
have as
that's
well.
no problem, mate. Yeah, that's no worries. But yeah, so the thought that for Tuesday, I think it will be a difficult game against Southampton. I don't think it'll be easy, but I'm happy if we get a 1-0 win down there to take back to St James's Park. And yeah, if we take a 1-0 win back, I'll be happy with that. And I would give Wilson definitely a rest, and maybe, like you say, Joe Willock as well. But we'll see what happens on Tuesday. We'll see what team Eddie Howe puts out. But it'll be a strong team regardless. It depends how much Southampton are going for it and what team they'll put out. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. 1-0 win.
But I think for the second leg, like you said, that will all depend on what happens now in the first leg, on whether then Southampton will switch priority over to the FA Cup. If we beat them at home 4-0, they're going to prioritise the FA Cup because they're going to think, well, there's no way we're going to come back from that at St James's. And then that would allow us to rest a couple more players for the home match if we were 4-0 up.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Christopher says, watched a few of your videos, Tony, liked them, so I've just hit the subscribe button. I thought, why not? Thank you very much, Chris. That's lovely of you. Thank you, mate, so much.
Tony,
And Tanji says, Isak should be starting games now and let Wilson do Woods roll off the bench.
just a word of advice.
Yeah.
Anyone with the name Christopher, the only people that ever call them the full name is their mother when they're in trouble. I know that from experience.
Yes, I can. Yep, I can agree with that because my cousin. Yeah.
Pablo says, evening, lads. Evening, Pablo.
And my friend's mum's son as well.
But yeah, I mean, as I say, guys, if you like what you see, please smash the like button. It really does help the channel up the search results, and that'll be great. Thank you. If you don't smash it now, smash it on your way out as well. Absolutely fantastic. And also, if you like Christopher new to the channel, then please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so. Helps the channel grow. Bell notification will tell you when I'm live, have a pre-recorded show, or any upcoming upcoming shows as well. And I'll go around the table.
I have to go now.
Okay, Lewis, no problem, mate. Thanks for coming on anyway.
No problem.
Bye, Lou.
Before you go, Lewis, who was your man of the match today?
Pope.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
See you later, Chris.
See you.
Bye.
Bye, mate. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Mason, who was your man of the match today?
Pope.
Yeah, had to be, doesn't it? Chris?
Yeah, I'd say Pope. He didn't have, well, to be honest, he had nothing to do, but the most vital thing that he had to do, he did it, and he did it well. And as always, he just literally bosses that back line. I mean, it's a complete unit.
That's what I'm thinking. Alex Pope, I thought he was man of the match all day long. For me, just on that one save, because I've played as a goalkeeper and I know what it's like when you have a quiet game when everything's going your way, your defence is strong in front of you.
Easy to lose concentration.
When that one moment comes up, you've got to be switched on, and he was switched on for that moment. Alan says, we might have a new striker in the DM come Tuesday. Right, Alan. Where have you heard that? Where is that on, mate? And do you know what names have been linked on that? If you could let us know. Pablo says, I agree. Pope was man of the match as well. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it was like I said, it was a phenomenal team performance. They absolutely bossed the match. You look at all the stats. I think we were top of everything. I don't think Palace had many chances. And the one chance that they did, the one clear-cut chance, is what got Pope the man of the match. So I don't think we could be disappointed. Well, no, we could, sorry, wrong wording. We could be disappointed, but we can't be upset.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. I I mean, yeah, it's a point's a positive at the end of the day. That's the way I look at it anyway. And you know, we haven't lost a game. We've gained a point, and we're back in third place above Man
And we're
United.
setting
Which
records. We're setting
yes, we
records
are.
while
We're
doing
setting
it.
a lot of records. Yep, we are absolutely, and long may that continue as well, setting those records. But yeah, just removing something out of chat. So guys, yeah, so we're coming to the end of the show now. But you know, on a day where we've drew 0-0 with Crystal Palace, we failed to break the deadlock. But all in all, it's a point. And before we go, I'll bring up the Premier League table as well. Ian says Bruno Longstaff or Botman for me, but Pope Save was world class though. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to fetch up the Premier League table in one moment, and then everybody have a look at the table as it stands at this precise time. So bear with me, guys, while I share this on screen. So there we go. Table should be on now, and scroll down. So the top of the table, Arsenal on 47 points, Man City 42. We're on 39 with Man United, 6 points ahead of Spurs, 8 above Brighton and Fulham, and 10 above Liverpool, Brentford, and Chelsea.
Tony,
well.
go and look at the bottom of the table, please.
The bottom of the table.
Go down. Oh
There you
no,
go.
the bloody giant bottom of Southampton. How embarrassing!
Yeah, so you got Southampton bottom, Everton second bottom on 15 points, then
Honestly,
Bournemouth.
Honest to God, I think Southampton will have enough to get out of that.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at teams to go down, I'd say Bournemouth, Everton, and I don't know who the third team would be, but I do think Bournemouth and Everton are so on now to go down.
One team I think will stay up. I think Forest will stay up. I've always said Forest would have enough to stay out of it, and they got out of it. I think Leeds are very dodgy. I think Wolves will stay up. They'll scrape up, I think, under Lopetegui. West Ham. But I'd definitely see Everton to go down, Bournemouth to go down.
Personal preference, I prefer West Ham to go down out of that list because I like all the other teams.
Yeah.
And I'm just literally thinking if West Ham go down, there's some good players there we could absolutely pinch for a bargain.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, that would be absolutely brilliant, wouldn't it? So, yeah. But that's the Premier League table as it stays tonight. And there's 3 teams there on 17 points, Bournemouth, Wolves and Leeds. Then you've got West Ham and Leicester on 18 points. Then Forest are 3 points further ahead, 4 points above the drop zone on 21 points. Crystal Palace are right in the mire as well. Technically, Chelsea are up there, but I don't see them being dragged into that. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting end to the season. It's well, you know, the second half of the season. See who stays up and who goes down. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that no more because we're that far up. We look down on them teams now, don't we? So, you know, the only way is up. And if we, you know, one game we've lost all season, and that was in controversial circumstances as well.
Oh God,
so,
don't even get me started on that. I hate the Scousers now. Like literally
absolutely.
the entire city. I hate them. Oh, after that. And then the stupidity to then do a gun celebration after a young girl's been shot in the city as well. That absolutely got my goat.
Yeah. And then that celebration they did was disgusting.
I know they're young kids and it was stupidity, but still, you thought that they would have come out and apologised.
Christopher says, I've said this before, but if you put Burnshaw, Botman, Trippier and Pope next to a brick wall and were asked what, you couldn't tell the difference. Yeah, exactly. Ian says, at a push, I'd choose to see Longstaff for his work rate and some great passes while he's 100% improved playing with Bruno. Yeah, he has, definitely.
And I think he's still going to get better.
Definitely, yeah. If Spurs get beat on Monday, Arsenal, Man U, or draw, it won't be a bad weekend considering Liverpool, Chelsea, Brighton all drew too. Man City will probably win though. I think I've got a feeling Arsenal get one back on Man United tomorrow and beat them because
I
Man
hope
U's
so.
without Casemiro. Everton are going to be eating championship burgers next year, says Ian Tomb Trader.
Yes, but don't forget about their shiny new stadium, E. Don't forget about that. They're going to have a wonderful Premiership world-class stadium in the Championship.
Absolutely. And Alan says, no, Tony, I was just hoping that we could have a striker in a DM by Tuesday. All right, okay, mate, no worries. I'm sure we'll do. I'm sure they'll be busy next week, and we'll find out, and we'll look forward to it. But guys, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you to Mason, thank you to Chris, and obviously everybody else who's came on tonight as well. So as I say, we drew 0-0. Not the end of the world. A point's a point. It's a positive, and it's onwards and upwards. Carabao Cup on Tuesday against Southampton, 8 p.m. kickoff, live on Sky Sports as well. So if you're not going to the game, you can catch it on Sky at home or in the pub, wherever you're going to watch it. But we look forward to that game on Tuesday. Let's hope we get back to winning ways and scoring ways. And until the next show, I will see you later on. And bye-bye for now, guys. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.